Hi everybody, this is a video to show you how to take through Design Space the really simple SVGs which come together to make the chocolate explosion box. So basically it's just 3 different sizes of explosion box, and these boxes are really easy to cut and assemble, and then on the inside you've got this little solid box which also has a lid. All these explosion boxes, the largest, the middle and the smallest, whichever way around they go, all have their own lid as well. So you could also use those to make explosion boxes for other things. Right, so I'll bring in the little solid box that goes in the middle first. I'm calling it a solid box. What I mean is the walls don't explode outwards. It's a proper box with a lid. Okay, so as usual with a multi-part SVG cut file which has score lines, the first thing you need to do is convert those lines that come in as cuts but which actually need to be scores. We can't set them as scores to come in as scores now like we used to be able to do. With my SVGs, they always live in this first group in the layers panel, the name of which is always the second line down in the layers panel. And all you need to do is click on the name of the group. You can see that you can toggle it open and close to see what's in it. If you just click on the name of it, that selects everything within it. Then you go over to your operations menu, click on basic cut, go down to score, and you can see that they get converted. And while they're still converted, you need to ungroup them. So on the desktop version that I'm using, ungroup is at the top of the layers panel. The second step is to select the group underneath, which contains all the coloured cut pieces and any cuts within them, and with that you just need to ungroup it. And the final step is to select the whole SVG any way you want to do it. You can draw a box around it, you can use the select all button, or you can just click on that final group in your layers panel and do that third ungroup. So 3 ungroups, ideally in that order: score lines, cut pieces, the whole SVG. Now that everything on canvas is a separate piece, you can attach the score lines and the piece that they relate to. And I think the quickest way to do that is to drag on screen somewhere close to the piece, drag a box to more or less enclose it, and click attach. With my SVGs, these score lines are always compound paths, so you don't always need to go all the way around the box. You just sort of need to touch the piece like that. Okay, so now they're attached, we'll click make it. And let's just see. I would have thought we could squeeze that on there. I'll just see if we can or not. Yeah, we can. I wonder why it won't put that on there. Oh, it's because it goes into that space there. Yeah, don't worry about that. So you're just going to click on the mat, click on the 3 dots, move it, choose that first mat you want to move it to, and pop it on the same mat. And then that little inside box, at the size it comes into Design Space at least, will cut from one sheet of 12 by 12. Okay, I'm not going to make that, so I'll cancel and I'll delete all that. And now I'll bring in, I really only need to bring in one box because they all work in exactly the same way, but I'll bring them all in and then we can talk about the paper that's required. So I'll bring in chocolate explosion box largest, chocolate explosion, this must be the smallest one. Okay, so again, we're going to do that converting the score lines thing. So it's the first group in your layers panel. The second line down is the name of that group. And there you see, you can toggle it open and closed. Just clicking on the name selects everything in the group. Over to your operations menu, click on basic cut and go down to score. And while they're still selected, ungroup it. Second step, select all the coloured cut pieces and ungroup those. Third step, select everything on screen any way you want to do it and click ungroup a third time. So now everything's a separate piece and we can attach the score lines. So again, it's going to click on screen somewhere near the piece, drag a box around it and attach. And I'll just move that out of the way so I can get to the walls. I would normally just use Alt A on my keyboard, but I'll do it on the screen so you can see exactly what I'm doing. And 6. So each box, pardon me, has 2 bases, 6 walls because this is a six-sided box, obviously, and a lid. Now the bases are just so you can make your box really tidy. In other words, you're going to stick your, I really can't speak today, can I? You're going to stick your walls to one of the bases, and then if you want to, you can use the other base to cover up the glue tabs on the wall. They actually look pretty smart. You don't have to cover them up. It just depends whether or not you want to do it, make the box a little bit stronger, but you don't have to. So if you don't want to do it, just don't cut two of these. But I'll send it to make it as if I'm going to cut two. So it'll cut, the whole box will cut from 2 sheets of 12 by 12, which is not too bad for an explosion box. What happens if I choose A3? Yeah, you're going to need 2 sheets. So for that one, if you're just cutting one box, 12 by 12 is probably the most economical cut. Right, I'm not going to make it, so we'll... Oops, I pressed continue by mistake. Yes, I do want to cancel. Get rid of that. And now I'll bring in the middle one, which is this blue one, I think. Yeah, chocolate explosion box middle. So it's handled in exactly the same way. We're going to select that group with the scores. Score, ungroup, cut pieces, ungroup, whole SVG, ungroup. And now we'll attach the walls. I'm going to use Alt A because it's a bit quicker. And I'm just moving those out of the way so I can get to the other pieces. Remember, if you're not using your keyboard, you just use attach. So again, we've got the 2 bases, the lid and the 6 walls. This is a bigger box, obviously. And yeah, look, you need, I think they would both go on one mat if you wanted to cut 2. So we'll just have a look there. Yeah, easily. You'll get both bases on one, but you would still need 4 sheets of 12 by 12 to cut the middle-sized explosion box. Right, I don't want to do it, so we'll just get rid of that, and I'll bring in the largest one now, and then we can see how much paper that uses. I think that's that one. Yeah, the purple one. To canvas, so I'm going to treat it exactly the same way again. First group in your layers panel, second line down, click on the name, go to your operations menu, click on basic cut, go down to score, and while it's selected, ungroup. First ungroup. Second step, select the next group in the layers panel, which contains all the coloured cut pieces, and ungroup that for the second ungroup. Final step, select the whole SVG anywhere you want to, and do that third ungroup. And again, we need to attach the score lines to each individual piece that they relate to. Don't choose the whole SVG, because if you do that, you'll get a message from Design Space saying that your project is incompatible and can't be cut. It's got to be individual SVGs. It also gives you the most freedom to move things around on your mat as well. So let's see what this takes. Now that's interesting because let's just go back. If we look at this, this is 20, so it will have to go that way around because 29.8 is too wide for the mat, but it's only, let's just pop it back around. It's only 26.72 centimetres wide. That's nowhere near the size of, no, sorry, we're talking about the length, aren't we? Because that's what we've got to squeeze on. Right, a 12 by 12 sheet of card is 305 millimetres square. And this piece here is about 299 millimetres long on its longest wall. So that is definitely going to cut from a sheet of 12 by 12. But when you click make it, the maker won't let you pick that. If you're on the newer machines, you won't be able to fool it either. You will need the long mat, unfortunately, because I think the newer machines check which mat you're working on. But if you're on an original maker or an Explorer 2, for that first mat there, just choose A3 and you can see that this lid goes on its own. You can use the standard mat and a piece of 12 by 12 and that box will cut. All I would do is when I put my 12 by 12 on the paper, I would just drop it a couple of millimeters away from that very first grid line, just to give yourself, it will fit anyway, but just to give yourself a little bit more room at that bottom corner. And you can also see that your final cut there is a glue tab. So it wouldn't matter if it just sheared the corner of that glue tab off, it would still work. If you're worried at all, just cut it from A3, but it will cut, on the older machines at least, on the standard mat from a sheet of 12 by 12. And now if we look at everything else underneath, we'll choose 12 by 12. That's a base, that's a base, these are walls. You need 6 sheets of 12 by 12 for the big box. And let's choose A3. Or you'd need 5 sheets of A3. Will that definitely not go on there? Let's just see. Will that move up there? Oh, look at that. It just won't. What a shame. Yeah, actually, yeah, it's about 3mm too wide. Depending on the size of the sweets that you're putting in that biggest box, you know, depending on how much space you need between the next box and your sweets stuck on the walls, you might just be able to reduce that box down a tiny fraction. But I'm not going to start doing that now because I've made my box the size it is and I know it works. But you could experiment with that, and if you did that, you would get 2 walls there, you'd get 4 walls there, you'd need 4 sheets of A3. Possibly 5 if you don't want to mess around with the sizes. Yeah, because it's going to go under there. Okay, that's pretty much it. You get a PDF of instructions to help you with assembly, but that's really fast as well, because basically you're just making the same kind of box 3 times. If you've got any more questions, or if you're building it and you need some help, don't hesitate to get in touch on Etsy or Facebook. I'm always happy to help. The links to do that are in the description below. And if you've just stumbled across this video and you'd like to buy the SVG, the link to do that is also in the description. Thanks a lot. Bye.